an explosion of ecstasy yesterday on the airwaves coming out of Bristol, Connecticut. ESPN is supposedly a network dedicated to sports. For the longest time, their moniker was the worldwide leader in sports. As you guys know, the official moniker at ESPN today is the worldwide leader in woke. But their unofficial moniker is serving sports fans anytime, anywhere. If you were to book a reservation for dinner at an upscale steakhouse, you and the wife get all dressed up. You're prepared to spend $300, maybe $400 on this dinner. You get to the restaurant, very classy, very modern. Seated at the table, the waiter brings your waters along with the menu. You take a look at the menu and notice there is not a damn steak to be offered. You ask the waiter what the hell's going on. He informs you that you are indeed at a steakhouse. But this is a vegan steakhouse. Instead of prime rib, they offer prime cucumber. Instead of New York strip, they offer the big apples. If this happened, how would you react? You would be incredibly confused, disappointed, pissed off. You would have the same reaction if you tortured yourself yesterday by watching the absolute filth that ESPN presented. Remember how I told you guys yesterday that my inside sources confirmed that the shitfucks were organizing an epic butt bongo festival in honor of the immaculate return of the bearded Lady Liberty to America? Now, my sources, they're not always right, but yesterday they were spot on. The legendary Festival of Rectums, organized by ESPN yesterday, lasted for hours and hours and hours. The party officially kicked off in the morning with Woke Take. It was kind of an awkward beginning. Normally when a party is starting, you have a hype man come out to excite the crowd. The ultimate hype man at ESPN is Stephen A. Smith. Wanker spankers were standing in the halls of ESPN, hands moist with lotion, waiting with excitement and anticipation as Brother Stephen took the stage. But the wanker spanking would have to wait, because this party started with a subdued and, to be honest with you, it appeared to be a very uncomfortable Stephen A. Smith. Now, you guys know my theory when it comes to Stephen A. I think he's an actor, the world's highest paid parrot. I believe he knew this deal to get Brittney Griner back home was disgraceful and 100% bullshit. But he couldn't make that point on ESPN's airwaves. Instead, he recited the script that he was given and went off script to reiterate the point that Paul Whelan should be home. Watch for yourself.
Biden administration is to be applauded in all of this because they put forth their due diligence. And it's important to recognize the fact that while we bring up Brittney Griner, we also bring up Paul Whelan from this perspective. The Biden administration said that they worked diligently and they pushed to try to get him released as well. And Russia was steadfast in their position that the only person that they were going to release at this particular moment in time was Brittney Griner. They didn't forget about anybody else. They tried to get other Americans to come home as well. But Russia refused to relent in that regard. So it was either Brittney Griner or nothing. And they made the wise decision of making sure that they got her home. So I'm incredibly happy for her, her family, the whole basketball community at large. But as Sherelle pointed out during her press conference this morning, as the Biden administration, Joe Biden himself pointed out, there's still work to be done to help others. And Brittney Griner is going to play a pivotal role in trying to assist in that regard. And I think that she and her loved ones should be applauded for that as well.
The Biden administration worked diligently? Are you seriously pretending that this was some type of skilled negotiation by Joe Biden? This dude was just embarrassed on a global stage. This was a slap in the face to every member of the military and anyone who has a family member serving this country. This was not a skilled negotiation. It was robbery. We gave Russia a real man and received a pretend man in return. Towards the end of that clip, Stephen A. Smith said Brittney Griner would be instrumental in the fight to get Paul Whelan released. I hope he's right. I really want to believe Brittney Griner's a changed woman. I really want to believe that. But I have a lot of doubts. The celebration continued on Woke Take with Dawn Staley and Becky Hammon. Now, I have a lot of respect for Becky Hammon, while I have absolutely no respect for Dawn Staley. Just in case you've forgotten, let me give you a reminder. Dawn Staley is the head coach at South Carolina. She's the same head coach that canceled their season opener against BYU over false claims of mythical racism. Remember the Rachel Richardson fairy tale? Yeah. Even after it was proven to be mythical, Dawn Staley still canceled BYU. Why? I did my research personally. I happen to know mythical racism was involved. Now, translated from woke to English, Dawn Staley actually said, I'm one stupid fuck. Not only is Dawn Staley a professional race baiter disguised as a basketball coach, she's also a fortune teller. You guys remember Miss Cleo? I know anyone over the age of 30 knows exactly who I'm talking about. Dawn Staley is the modern day Miss Cleo. Listen for yourself as she confesses to using her magical powers to get Bobby Griner released. Roll the film.
I have to say, I spoke to a reporter yesterday, and I was like, I just have this feeling that Brittney's going to be home before Christmas. I don't know why. Maybe it was a verse that someone sent me last week that talked about God's grace. And I just felt like his grace was going to come snatch her like a thief in the night, like last night, to bring her home. And I'm just so happy. Like I'm full.
It was such a great effort in the W, and I think that was one of Brittney's biggest thing is don't quit saying my name. Yeah. And we continued to say her name, and I think that's something that when you've gone through something like this, her voice will have the greatest impact.
It's funny how they like to use religion when it benefits their narrative. I told a reporter yesterday, I spoke to the oak tree, and the oak tree told me Bob will be home for Christmas to help us gather nuts for the winter. Where was God's grace within Dawn Staley when she was denigrating the reputation of BYU? I don't remember seeing any grace then. I don't remember hearing anything about forgiveness. Now, of course, forgiveness wasn't needed because it never happened. Shitfucks are quick to ask for grace when it comes to one of their brothers or sisters or their emotional support shovel. But when someone like Kyrie Irving needs grace, or when someone like Herschel Walker needs grace, they whack them with their brooms and pitchforks. And Becky Hammon, God love her. I really do like Becky Hammon. I thought she had a real chance of becoming the first female head coach in the NBA. But if she really believes the WNBA played any role in bringing Brittney Griner home, Becky Hammon is naive. Yes, WNBA dump divers continued saying Bob's name. Bob Moran. Dump divers sketched her name in the dirt. They spelled her name with an assortment of trash so it could be seen from the sky. I believe one recipient of woke welfare tweeted every morning about the return of Brittney Griner. Today is day 147 that my sister is being unfairly confined in a Russian palace. It's just not fair that she is given 3 meals a day and I have to pillage trash for my food. WNBA players, they kept saying her name. Say my name, but no one is around me. Does anybody hear me? Why am I so lame? No. See, that's the thing. They kept saying her name. The problem is, no one was listening. It's like that old saying, if a tree falls in the forest and no one is around, does it make a sound? If a dump diver is sending out smoke signals, but no one is on the horizon to see it, do they really exist? It's kind of like a fart in the wind. But ESPN saved the real embarrassment for last. Oh, it was so exciting. ESPN capped off the celebration with an all-star panel of shitfucks. Now you got to remember, this network is dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Every afternoon, ESPN broadcasts a show dedicated to the NBA, aptly titled NBA Today. Just like going to a steakhouse and expecting steak, when you tune into NBA Today, you're expecting to see coverage about the NBA, right? My Pelicans are the number 1 seed in the Western Conference for the first time since the Chris Paul era, 15 years ago. It's a big deal to people like me. I would expect to see a segment talking about and analyzing my Pelicans. Not Mina Kimes analysis, I want real analysis. If you tuned into NBA Today yesterday, you would have thought you made a mistake and clicked the wrong channel. First of all, the network dedicated to diversity didn't give us a diverse panel. Check it out for yourself. These are the contestants for the upcoming woke beauty pageant. But beauty was not the only thing on display. These talented women were excited to show off their amazing brain power to the world. The all-star of all-stars, the icon of icons yesterday was the woman in the middle. I can't ever pronounce her name correctly, so we'll just shorten it to Chinmike. Her actual name is Chiney Ogwunmike, but I can never get it right. Chinmike took to the podium to address her brothers and sisters. By this point of the celebration, the ecstasy was kicking in with full force. The wanker spankers were ready. The anticipation was building. How many woke boner words would they be able to handle before release? Chinmike didn't disappoint. In the span of about 80 seconds, she brought joy and elation to so many shitfucks. ESPN had to hire a cleaning crew to disinfect their campus of woke U. Watch it for yourself.
Once again, you're seeing that the good work that the W does, our advocacy matters, even when society constantly tells you that it doesn't. Because I always say that the WNBA, being a league that is predominantly 80% Black women, our existence is inherently the resistance. What we represent can sometimes be construed as political just because of the color of our skin or what we choose to advocate for. And so I think that constant grind that we have to not only deliver at the highest level, which, by the way, we have the results of,
yes,
the
champion
champs in
the building,
but also to use our platforms for positive power and change, knowing that our representation, we know what's at stake for those. And I think that, the result that we got to today was the administration saying that you matter in a way that society sometimes is late to understand. And that to me is the coolest part. Like, finally, there's a small validation for the work that has been done, and also understanding that, like, at the end of the day, we get our sister back, we get our teammate back. Like, it just is, there's so many different, moments and points that we look to in sports. And I think the W is a true testament of, I've said it like a million times on this network, we're not new to this, but we are consistently true to everything.
Okay. Let me explain something. The color of your skin has absolutely nothing to do with your representation being perceived as political. The perception of the WNBA as being a league filled with political shitfucks has to do with the league being filled with political shitfucks. And you just knew. You just knew. ESPN could not organize a celebration of rainbows without finding a way to tie in mythical racism. You just knew. They could not end their celebration without turning WNBA dump divers into the ultimate victims. The constant grind that we have, the pressure to deliver at the highest level. The highest level? Excuse me? Did you just call WNBA basketball the highest level? My 5-year-old nephew pretends to play football. Is he playing at the highest level? You expect me to believe pretend basketball is the highest level of the game? If I'm not mistaken, Chiney, whatever the fuck, plays in the WNBA. You're on the court. You witnessed this garbage in person. I have seen higher levels of skill in basketball played at the YMCA League. WNBA players, they are the best in the world at running an efficient dump. But when it comes to basketball, this league is an embarrassment. Now, that clip I just shared with you, ESPN actually promoted that filth on social media. About an hour later, the clip was removed. Why? Because the response was so negative, ESPN was actually embarrassed to keep it up. If what ESPN presented yesterday was noble, if it was right, why remove that clip from social media? They knew it wasn't right. It was all propaganda. According to ESPN, America is racist because it doesn't care about black women in the WNBA. Yet, we just brought a black woman home and left a white man over there. America doesn't care about women in the WNBA because, well, for one, most Americans are confused. They see WNBA players and can't properly identify their gender. But two, we don't care about the WNBA because the product sucks. It sucks. I guess it's fitting ESPN cares so much about the WNBA dump, or what they call the W standing for wankers. This marriage between ESPN and the WNBA actually makes sense because both are absolute trash. But let me know what you think. ESPN dedicates an entire day. They present live footage from the dump on a program meant for the NBA to celebrate the return of Bob Griner. Hours and hours of nothing but propaganda. Give me your thoughts. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.